On an ordinary Tuesday morning in August 1981, 20-year-old legal secretary Cynthia "Cindy" Anderson arrived at her law office in Toledo, Ohio. By lunchtime, she was gone. Her desk lamp still glowed, the radio hummed, and the air conditioner kept the room cool. A romance novel lay open on her desk, its bookmarked scene describing an abduction at knife point. The doors were locked, her purse and keys were missing, but her car sat untouched outside. Cindy had spoken of unsettling phone calls, strange graffiti, and even nightmares of being abducted. On this day, she would vanish in a way that would baffle investigators for decades. No struggle, no witnesses, no clear trail, just an open book and a locked door. Welcome to Bad Things. Join us as we trace Cindy's final known hours, the chilling clues left behind, and the tangled web of theories that try to explain how a young woman could simply vanish in plain sight. Late 1980 to early 1981. Warnings and harassment. In the months before she disappeared, Cindy Anderson began confiding in family about disturbing dreams. According to her mother and sister, she repeatedly described nightmares in which a stranger attacked and abducted her. These dreams unsettled her deeply, but they weren't the only sign of unease. At the law office where she worked, strange incidents began to occur. Twice, graffiti appeared on a wall visible from her desk, reading, "I love you, Cindy," by GW. The first message was painted over, only to reappear shortly after. Cindy found this unnerving and told her family and co-workers about it. Around the same time, she began receiving anonymous, sometimes obscene phone calls at work. Her employers, concerned for her safety, installed an emergency buzzer at her desk, connected to a nearby business. Cindy began keeping the office doors locked at all times. Police would later discover the GW graffiti had nothing to do with her case. A man with those initials admitted it was meant for a different Cindy, but at the time, the combination of harassment and anonymous calls left Cindy on edge. August 4th, 1981. The vanishing. On a warm Tuesday morning, Cindy followed her normal routine, arriving at the office of attorneys James Rabbit and Jay Feldstein in North Toledo. She was often alone in the mornings while the lawyers attended meetings. At 9:45 a.m., witnesses saw her at her desk, working. Sometime soon after, she vanished. By 10 a.m., phone calls to the office went unanswered. When Rabbit returned around noon, the door was locked. Inside, the lights were still on, the air conditioner running, the radio playing. Cindy's romance novel was open to the book's only scene of a violent kidnapping. There were no signs of a struggle, and the door appeared locked from the inside. Cindy's purse and keys were gone, but her white Chevy Citation was still in the parking lot, locked. She had not left a note on the door, a habit of hers if she stepped out. Rabbit later recalled, "We unlocked the door, went inside, yelled for Cindy, and there was no answer. Cindy, when she would leave, would place the phones on hold, and that wasn't done either." Her co-workers immediately contacted the police. Immediate investigation. August 1981. Detective William Adams of the Toledo Police Department described the case as baffling. Her car was parked in front of the law office. Her bank account, which had a nice substantial amount of money, was never touched. Her social security number has never shown up under any other workplace. It's a complete mystery how and why Cindy disappeared. Police found no witnesses who saw her leave or be forced away. The office panic buzzer had not been pressed. It seemed that whoever confronted her either earned her trust or acted so quickly she couldn't react. August 3rd, 1981. A chilling clue in hindsight. The day before she vanished, a client named Larry Mullins had been in the office when Cindy received a call that visibly shook her. She got a phone call and hung up real quick. The look on her face, still, I can picture it today. She was scared, honestly and sincerely scared. It gives me shivers. Something scared the hell out of her. Cindy never revealed who the caller was or what was said. September 1981. The anonymous caller. A month after Cindy's disappearance, police received a tip from a woman speaking in a frantic whisper. She claimed Cindy was being held in the basement of a white house, one of two identical white houses owned by the same family, and that the son was keeping her there while the parents were away. Detective Adams pleaded for more details, but the woman hung up. She called again soon after, repeating the information before abruptly ending the call. Police searched neighborhoods across Toledo for such houses. There's many, but you can't find any positive location to the house, Adams said. The caller never contacted police again, and her tip was never verified. 1981 to 1984. Leads fade. Police interviewed acquaintances, investigated possible suspects, and even looked into local serial predators like Anthony and Nathaniel Cook. All were cleared. Cindy's father voiced concern about strangers loitering outside the office plaza. There are a lot of spooky people around that shopping center. They drive by real slowly, and Cynthia sits just behind a glass window on the main floor. Her sister Christine stated firmly, there were no circumstances in her life that would have caused her to have run away. She was very excited about going to Bible college. By 1983, the case had gone cold. That same year, Cindy's mother passed away without answers. 1990, National Spotlight. In January 1990, Unsolved Mysteries aired a segment on Cindy's case, dramatizing her nightmares and the events of August 4th. Detective Adams, family members, and co-workers appeared, but no major breakthroughs followed. November 1995. A new lead. 14 years later, a federal grand jury indicted 9 people in a major drug trafficking case, including attorney Richard Neller, Cindy's former boss, and his client Jose Rodriguez Jr. Toledo police publicly linked Cindy's disappearance to the case, stating they believed she was killed because she overheard conversations about the drug operation. A witness at Rodriguez's trial testified Rodriguez admitted to murdering Cindy, but the claim was uncorroborated. A judge ruled there wasn't enough evidence to factor it into sentencing. Despite searches at one point around a rural pond in 1996, no trace of Cindy was found. 2000s to present. Cindy's father kept hope alive but passed away in 2008, his obituary stating she had preceded him in death. In 2020, a prison informant claimed Rodriguez once offered to reveal the location of her remains in exchange for leniency for a relative. Police could not verify the claim. Richard Neller died in 2024, still denying involvement. Jose Rodriguez Jr. remains in prison. Cindy's case is still officially open, and she would be 64 years old today. Over 4 decades, investigators, journalists, and armchair sleuths have debated what might have happened to Cindy Anderson. The possibilities range from criminal conspiracy to opportunistic attack to voluntary disappearance. Number 1. The drug conspiracy cover-up. One of the most publicized theories connects Cindy's disappearance to a large-scale cocaine trafficking ring. As we've seen, in 1995, 14 years after she vanished, federal prosecutors indicted 9 people, including Cindy's former boss, Richard Neller, and his client Jose Rodriguez Jr., in a $25 million operation. Police went so far as to announce their suspicion that Cindy had been killed because she overheard conversations about the illegal business. As a legal secretary, she could have been exposed to sensitive calls, documents, or in-person meetings. During Rodriguez's trial, a witness testified that Rodriguez told him he killed Cindy to send a message to Neller over a past dispute. That claim was never corroborated. A judge later ruled it couldn't be considered in sentencing. There is no physical evidence tying either man to Cindy's disappearance, and both denied involvement. Critics of this theory point out that Cindy's disappearance was never formally linked to the drug case in court, and that police may have been influenced by the timing of the indictment rather than solid proof. Number 2. The stalker or unknown assailant. Another theory suggests Cindy was targeted by a stalker or a local predator unrelated to her workplace. In the months before she vanished, she was shaken by repeated obscene phone calls. Remember client Larry Mullen's recollection of a call she received the day before her disappearance? She was scared, honestly and sincerely scared. Her father noticed strangers slowing their cars to watch her through the office window. There are a lot of spooky people around that shopping center, he said. Supporters of this theory believe someone had been watching Cindy, learned her routine, and struck on August 4th, 1981. They note that because she kept the door locked, she might have opened it only for someone posing as a client or a delivery person, or she could have been intercepted outside. The anonymous caller in September 1981, who claimed Cindy was being held in a basement, is sometimes cited as possible proof. But police never verified the tip, and without an identified suspect, the trail ends there. Number 3. The voluntary disappearance theory. Some online commentators have speculated that Cindy staged her own disappearance. Raised in a strict religious household, living at home at 20 and preparing to attend Bible college, she may have felt boxed into a life she didn't want. Shortly before she vanished, she began wearing makeup, styling her hair and dieting. Changes her father remarked on, saying she was like a debutante. Some interpret this as a sign of independence or a relationship outside her family's approval. Proponents of this theory point to the open romance novel on her desk, set to a kidnapping scene, as an oddly theatrical touch, one that could have been staged to mislead police. They argue she might have saved cash, left under an alias, and stayed hidden. Her family firmly rejects this possibility. There were no circumstances in her life that would have caused her to have run away, her sister Christine said. Investigators found no evidence she prepared to start a new life. Number 4. Other and fringe theories. A few other ideas have surfaced over the years. Some wondered if Cindy had been placed in witness protection, but law enforcement has never supported that. In a more unusual vein, members of her religious community even floated the idea of a supernatural event, though there is no evidence for this. Others have considered whether a personal relationship, hidden from friends and family, might have turned violent. No such connection has been proven. As Detective Adams summarized, "She just vanished, and we've checked the rumors. They turned out to be groundless." When weighing the known facts, one theory requires fewer leaps of faith and aligns with tangible events that unfolded after 1981. Cindy Anderson was abducted and killed in connection with criminal activity at her workplace. This conclusion rests not on sensationalism but on a simple calculus. Motive, means, and opportunity converge most clearly on individuals later proven to be engaged in high-stakes, violent enterprise. Perpetrator and motive. By now, it shouldn't come as a surprise that we think Cindy's employer, Richard Neller, was central in her disappearance. By the mid-1990s, Neller and his client, Jose Rodriguez Jr., were exposed as central figures in a multi-million-dollar cocaine operation. For anyone safeguarding such an operation, loose ends were dangerous. As a legal secretary, Cindy's role placed her within earshot of private conversations and in possession of sensitive documents. Even something as routine as typing a letter or answering a phone could have revealed details she wasn't meant to know. A federal indictment later stated outright that on August 4, 1981, Rodriguez, Neller, and others abducted and murdered Cindy because she had overheard discussions of their drug business. While this was never tested in court for her case, it formalized law enforcement's long-held suspicion. Means and opportunity. The conspirators had the means. Rodriguez had a history of violent crime and access to criminal associates. Nella knew the office layout, Cindy's schedule, and habits that kept her isolated in the mornings. They also had opportunity. On that Tuesday, Cindy was alone from shortly after 9:40 a.m. until noon. A familiar face, especially her own boss, could get her to unlock the door without hesitation. From there, a second person could have entered immediately, closing off any chance for her to trigger the emergency buzzer. The office being locked, the lights and air conditioning left running, and the absence of any visible struggle suggest a controlled removal rather than a chaotic assault. Likely course of events. A plausible sequence is that one of the conspirators, possibly Nella or Rodriguez, arrived at the office under normal pretenses. Cindy either stepped outside with them or allowed them inside. Within moments, she was subdued, whether through verbal threats, a concealed weapon, or physical restraint. Her purse and keys were taken with her, possibly to give the impression she had stepped out voluntarily. The office door was locked behind them, buying the abductors time before discovery. Phone calls began going unanswered by 10 a.m., narrowing the abduction window to less than 15 minutes after she was last seen. What happened after? If Cindy's knowledge posed a direct threat to the operation, holding her would have been risky. The safer course for those involved would have been to kill her quickly and dispose of the body in a secure location. Informants over the years have hinted at burial sites, including rural areas and bodies of water, but no credible evidence has been recovered. Rodriguez reportedly suggested in prison that he knew the location of her remains and was willing to trade that information for a favor to a relative, an offer authorities declined. Given their criminal connections, those responsible would have had the resources to ensure her remains would never be accidentally found. In essence, the drug conspiracy explanation satisfies the known evidence with the fewest assumptions. People with both motive and opportunity acted during a narrow window, removed Cindy without causing a scene, and concealed the evidence beyond recovery. As Detective William Adams said decades after the fact, it's a complete mystery how and why Cindy disappeared. That mystery remains, but when the surrounding facts are lined up, the most logical picture is of a young woman caught in the crosshairs of dangerous men whose livelihoods depended on her silence. Until the day her remains are found or someone talks, the truth will stay locked away, much like the office she left behind on that August morning.